Hey, what's up everyone, this is Bad5. I decided to kind of go with a change of pace, at least on this video, instead of doing the political shit. I actually saw The Dark Knight Rises on opening day. And, okay, first off, let me say this. The first part is going to be spoiler-free. It's going to be, like, my general ideas about the movie. And the second part is going to be kind of, like, my way of answering, like, some questions that people had, including shakeysurgeon. I watched his review, and his review, like, yeah, like this one, it's going to be, like, his first part, you know, spoiler-free, he said he liked it, but the second part, he was asking questions like, why the fuck didn't they do this? Why didn't they do that? And I'm not going to be like the amazing atheist on his Avengers review, and not give you any warning. The first part, like I said, it's going to be spoiler-free. If you haven't seen it and you don't want any spoilers, I will give you time to, like, click out of the video, and I won't be offended by that, so you know, you can experience the movie for yourself, because I think all of these movies, you know, from beginning to fucking end, you know, I think this Batman trilogy has been one of the most perfect trilogies ever, and I have very few complaints. The only trilogies I can really think to put on par is the Star Trek trilogy, which most people consider 2, 3, and 4. Those movies were fucking brilliant. The first Star Trek, I mean, you might as well just fucking skip it. It was just basically an introduction, like, hey, look, it's Star Trek. But yeah, the Star Trek trilogy, Wrath of Khan, Search for Spock, and The Voyage Home. However, Search for Spock wasn't that fucking great. And then also the original Star Wars trilogy, which I do like the prequels. I'm going to say that in all fairness. But with both of these trilogies, I think there were some things that I didn't like in Star Trek. Like I said, Search for Spock. It was fine. I mean, the movie was fine. It wasn't a bad movie, but it seems like every other Star Trek, well, I shouldn't say every other, like, 1 sucked, 3 wasn't great, 5, I liked certain elements, etc. Most of the even-numbered Star Trek movies were great. And with Star Wars, I thought the Ewok shit, I mean, I understood what they were there for, but, you know, I think the shit between, like, fucking Luke and Vader and the Emperor, I thought that shit was fucking awesome. I thought it was a good way to end the trilogy. The prequel trilogy, I mean, I have complaints about it, but I think they were great. But I think that this fucking Batman trilogy didn't have any of these goddamn problems. You know, Chris Nolan knows what the fuck he's doing. In fact, I think I read somewhere that he says he doesn't do sequels. He does films. And I think that's a great fucking way to look at it. And you can tell, to a certain extent, especially with Dark Knight, that he was trying to make a film. Like, seeing the first one, yeah, that fucking helped. Now, this third one, it does really tie all three together in a great fucking way. Which brings me to what I think is one of the saddest parts. Like I said, they tie all three together, but unfortunately, and this is not a spoiler, I read this on the internet, you know, weeks before Dark Knight Rises came out. Scarecrow does make an appearance, but unfortunately they couldn't have Heath Ledger reprise his role as Joker, and to me that's really sad. You know, I saw Batman Begins, I think twice in the theater, not on opening day. Dark Knight, because my wife, you know, she liked Christian Bale, she thought he was hot, so she went to see all of his fucking movies, and that's why we saw Prestige, Harsh Times, even though that was a shit movie. But she loved Batman Begins, and when Dark Knight came out, we saw opening day, and then we saw it again. We actually, I guess technically, we saw Dark Knight Rises opening day. It wasn't the midnight showing, it was, like, that day. And I think we're going to go see it again. But after seeing Heath Ledger, it was just, it was weird because we were really hoping that he would have just come out like, psych, I'm not really dead. See, well, you saw the movie. Wasn't it fucking awesome? And people would have felt fucked, I mean, you know, pissed off, but it just, he did such an amazing job with that role, that it would have been great to see him pick that up, especially with the ending of The Dark Knight when he said, you know, we're going to be doing this for fucking ever. And I thought, you know, that was kind of like, you know, the comics, you know, they were just kind of going back and forth for fucking ever. In fact, I think in The Killing Joke, he actually said, they're like, you know, you're going to arrest me, I'm going to fucking escape, then you're going to do it again, it's just going to go back and forth. But that being said, of course, Bane is the main villain, which some people might have some disputes with that, and I'm not going to say why on this part. But Bane, I thought he was an interesting take on the Bane character, because I thought the fucking, little story arc, Nightfall, which if you guys are interested in the comics, you could probably find this easily. But yeah, Nightfall was the story arc where Bane broke Batman, and in the comics, Bruce Wayne actually asked a guy named Azrael to become the new Batman, and I thought that was a great fucking direction. They didn't do that with the movie, which I'm kind of glad in a way, because in the comics, you know, Batman had to, you know, basically take back his role as Batman from Azrael. But I did think the Azrael Batman was really cool, especially the way he defeated Bane. You know, like Bane was like, "Hey, I broke Batman." And he said, "Not this Batman," and he fucking just destroyed Bane. He fucked him up, and I thought the look was really cool. And you guys can probably look that up easily, but I thought Bane, it was an interesting take. Like, some people complained about the mask, and at first I didn't know how I felt about it. It almost reminded me of, like, a tarantula with, like, the shit coming off of it. But I know it's supposed to be, like, fangs. But I thought he looked pretty cool. I mean, he was big. Tom Hardy got really fucking big for that role. Now, one complaint people have is the voice, and sometimes voices, like, it seems like it can be annoying with certain things, like the film Frost Nixon. When I saw the previews for that, I thought the guy, I forget his name, who's playing Nixon, like, his Nixon voice, when the president does it, it's not illegal. But in the movie, like the Dark Knight Rises, the voice does fucking work. And I think, you know, Frost Nixon, which, by the way, God, that's a fucking great movie. But I think the voice, at certain times, I had to kind of like, wait, what did he say? Oh, okay, and I had to think about it. Especially since, you know, some of the music was so fucking loud. Now, the Angry Video Game Nerd pointed out there are certain scenes with no music, and it works really well. It really does, you know, set the mood. You know, certain movies, they need music for a mood. And by the way, I'm sorry if I kind of go off topic a little bit here, but I do like films. I'm not, you know, some fucking huge movie buff, but I do like talking about movies. Like The Warriors. The fight scenes, especially with the Baseball Furies, apparently those scenes, well, that scene did not have music at first, and it seemed too fucking brutal, too realistic, and that's not what they were going for. They were going for more like a comic book kind of feel, and they said once they added the music, it didn't seem as fucking intense, and they didn't want it to just seem like fucking brutal, like, you know, that's what they're going for. No, they wanted it to seem kind of, like I said, like a comic book. I can't really think of a word to describe it, but yeah, anyhow. Now, one thing about the movie is that it actually, it's weird because not this much time has passed between The Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises in real life, but it's 8 years after. And it's pretty much picking up where Dark Knight left off. And I'm going to say this. The Dark Knight Rises is fucking dark. I mean, it's weird because, you know, because Chris Nolan, you know, again, he said he doesn't do films, he doesn't do sequels, he does films, so they kind of do standalone, but with, like, The Empire Strikes Back, that's obviously the darkest of the original trilogy, where, you know, it's like, everything's fucked up, you know, Luke gets his fucking hand cut off, and, you know, Vader's his father, and Han's being taken away, and basically, the rebels, like, one of their biggest hopes, you know, being on Hoth, you know, that was fucking destroyed. They're fucked. I mean, they're getting the shit kicked out of them. But then the third movie, they rise up. This one, the second one, while it was dark, especially with the Joker situation and, you know, Harvey Dent being broken the way he was, this third one is just so fucking dark. And in the second part, I'm going to talk about that because, like I said, I don't want anyone who watches this, if they haven't seen it yet, I don't want to give them, I don't want to spoil anything for them because I kind of like spoilers in a way, but in other ways I don't. Like, you know, technically, I guess I saw Dark Knight before it even came out, because my brother's one of those people that can get things on the internet, and he actually got The Dark Knight on our computer when I lived at home, a couple weeks before the movie actually came out in the theater. The only thing that didn't work was the scenes where the guys were speaking, I believe it was Chinese. The subtitles were in Spanish, but other than that, yeah, we had it. But anyhow, like I said, the movie is just very fucking dark, and I think the movie's just very emotional. There's just so much to it. I mean, it's like, I don't know, it just, you feel throughout the movie, like, you really feel And I think that's great. I love, because I love things like comedies, mindless action movies, but if I can think about something, if I can feel something, I'd much rather fucking see that. I'd much rather see a really great drama. Something that makes me think, that makes me, like, break down almost. And I know some people think that's fucking lame, but I don't care. I like emotion, and, very emotional scripts, even if the movie is an emotional gut punch by the end. It doesn't matter. Like American History X. I mean, that ending was a fucking emotional gut punch. And I thought it was great. So, anyway, that's all I want to really say. I really recommend you guys see it, especially if you're a fucking fan of Batman Begins and Dark Knight. I mean, the movie's fucking epic. It really is. It's a great fucking way to end it. And hopefully they keep kind of going with this story in another trilogy or possibly a series. I don't know why trilogy seemed to be the big thing. But they could really keep going with this, and I think it's fucking brilliant. So, I'm going to make the screen go black in a second, for a few seconds. So you guys will have a chance to just click out. If you have not seen it, you don't want any spoilers. So, if you are going to click out, this is a bad vibe, and I'll see you next video. Alright, so this is going to be the next part, the part with spoilers, if you guys are still here. Like I said, the movie's really dark, and to me, I mean, I was really upset when, basically, not only is Batman broken, but Bruce Wayne is broken, like, I mean, he could have been doing shit as Bruce Wayne, he could have just given up that life as Batman, but, Batman's such an important part of his life that, sorry, I see a fucking spider. Batman's such an important part of his life, and, saving Gotham was just such a big motivation for him that, it really affected him. And I thought that was fucking phenomenal. And Alfred leaving, I mean, I think it was kind of a contradiction when he left because, in Batman Begins, twice, that I can remember in the movie, because, they've been playing, fucking Batman Begins and Dark Knight all the fucking time on, like, FX and, I think, TNT, but in a few other channels probably. But, he said, you haven't given up on me, and he said, never. Twice. So I thought that was fucked up, Alfred leaving, but god damn, was that such an emotional fucking scene. I mean, my wife said she was about to cry when that happened, because it was that fucking powerful, and I was like, yeah, I agree, that was sad. It just, and I think it's because we do have this fucking emotional attachment. This is the third movie with this cast, and how they feel. You know what kind of people they are, and you have that fucking connection. But, the first part, like, where Batman comes back, and he's not fully Batman yet, and I thought that was fucking brilliant. I thought it was, just like when Bruce Wayne was, like, in the League of Shadows, yeah, he's getting there, which, I think really ties into, it ties together all three of the fucking movies. Like, he wasn't quite there yet, but he was getting there. And he was, coming up with the whole fucking thing. And I thought that was great. Now, there are a few things that people complain about. Like I said before with Bane, I think Tom Hardy had actually based his voice for that character on a bare-knuckle boxer. I think he was Irish. My wife actually looked that shit up and said, oh, okay, that's why he talked like that. And I thought that was fucking great. Now, Bane, he was a great fucking villain. I thought it was a good take. Now, one thing that did fucking piss me off was, it seemed like, because I've said in a video before that Christopher Nolan is a conservative, and I don't know, I mean, maybe it was just me, but I kind of felt like the whole shit about, like, oh, they live in fucking luxury, let's go take that. And then later, there's the scene, Catwoman's friend, I forget her fucking name. It's like, oh, this is everyone's now. To me, I thought that was kind of a fucking attack on not only Occupy Wall Street, but, like, maybe socialism, possibly communism. And I'm kind of thinking maybe communism because, Bane's guys are, patrolling through the street. Which, by the way, that shit fucked me up. That was one scene that I was just like, god damn it! When they, got into Batman's armory and were taking his shit, I was just like, fuck. And I mean, that whole fucking scene, like, where you broke Batman's mask and, broke his back, I'm just like, god damn it! Fuck! fuck. I mean, it affected me because, I mean, I'm a fucking pessimist. I'm a cynic, but god damn, I want the good guys to win. But, I mean, I think they did a great fucking job with the Bane character. And Talia, I thought that was, great as well. And that's why I said in the first part, like, some people, well, technically, Bane is the main villain, but technically he's not, especially since Talia didn't actually, reveal herself until really close to the fucking end. Which, speaking of which, that movie could have just fucking gone on and on. I don't care if it's a 3-hour movie. It didn't feel like 3 hours. To me, it was like watching Lord of the Rings again. Like, the only part of you that knows that it's that fucking long is your ass, because it's starting to get fucking sleepy. But, I thought that was, interesting. And like I said, the way they tied it together. I'm glad Liam Neeson could actually, reprise his role. I was really hoping he would be able to reprise his role as Qui-Gon Jinn and Star Wars Episode 3. Unfortunately, I heard he was either doing another movie at the time, or maybe he got into an accident. I believe he was just doing another movie. But, I thought that was great, throwing him in there. And like I said in the first part, it was just really sad that all these people came back to reprise their roles, but, Joker couldn't be there, and that's sad to me. I mean, the whole fucking experience was kind of bittersweet, because I know that, Bruce Wayne is not going to be Batman, at the end of this. It's like, it's sad as fuck. I mean, I think what Christian Bale and Christopher Nolan did with the character was fucking brilliant. But let me talk about some other complaints. Now, there's one thing, like, people, they're still kind of curious about the end. Like, I read on a website that, this guy, whoever wrote the article, if I can find it, maybe I'll link it, but I'm probably not going to search for it. But he said he thinks that the ending, actually, Batman is dead. And it was Alfred, like, it was his mind, basically saying that, Bruce and, Selena Kyle, Catwoman, which, by the way, she was fucking great, too. I was actually shocked how good Anne Hathaway was. But, it was actually Alfred just imagining seeing that. And then someone's like, in the comment section of that article was like, no, he fixed the autopilot. That's why they threw that in there. Like, he's not dead. Apparently Christopher Nolan wanted to kill Bruce Wayne. And I thought that would have been, like, an okay direction. Because it's like, when he said, I haven't given everything. Now, technically he did give up his life for Gotham. And, I thought that was, fucking great. But, seeing him at the end, it's like, yeah, he did give up his life. He gave up not only his life as Batman, but also as Bruce Wayne. I mean, everything. He sacrificed everything he had. Batman was dead. Bruce Wayne was dead, but Bruce Wayne left all of his shit to everyone else. And I think that was part of the thing. It's like, yeah, he's rich, but he gives a fuck. He wants to help people, not only just, fighting crime, but he also wants to help the people who, like kids. He got, he was put in a bad situation. But one thing that people whine about, and I don't know why. I mean, they're so fucking dumb with this. I think this is probably the worst fucking complaint. That's the whole thing. Like, so many people say, it was a nuclear bomb. How could he survive that? And the radiation want to fuck people up. It's not a nuclear bomb. It was a fusion bomb, which we don't have those. At least not yet. And they give off pure energy. There's no radiation. So, no, it wouldn't have, completely destroyed the city. It wouldn't have given off radiation. So it's like, yeah. And then also, the whole thing, like, people say, well, how did Batman survive? Well, Batman survived because he fixed the autopilot. So we don't know when he got out, what he did, but he did it. And he fucking survived, and he, left to have his life with Catwoman. Now, Shaky Surgeon, he was asking some shit, like, why did Bane throw him in a prison? And it's because he wanted Batman to fucking suffer. He wanted him to fucking suffer. That's why he had the TV. It's like, yeah, here's what I'm doing to Gotham. And there's not a fucking thing you can do about it. And Shaky Surgeon said, like, why didn't he just kill Batman? Because killing him is quick. That's just like, okay, well, yeah, you can kill anyone. Bane killed plenty of fucking people. He did that because Batman was a special person. He was fucking special. And plus, Talia, it's like, yeah, here, you were trying to save Gotham. You may have killed my father, but I'm going to make sure his plans actually come to fruition. And it's like, well, why did he cut off his arms and legs? Because he wants Batman. Because no one ever got out of that fucking prison except for a little girl. And I think that's supposed to represent hope. Like, she had hope. Unfortunately, she fell. And yeah, it's like, yeah, you're gonna keep trying to get out of this fucking prison. And someone also brought up in Shaky Surgeon's comments section, and I thought of this too, that the prison was supposed to represent Lazarus. And, you know, it's a pit. It represents resurrection. I thought that was fucking great. And yeah, I mean, the thing that like Shaky Surgeon brought up, like with the rope, you know, like it would have broken his back. It would have broken anyone's fucking back. Yeah, I mean, possibly, but there were months that went by, so we don't know if it did really fuck him up. But yeah, I mean, the movie's called Dark Knight Rises, so yes, that's a part of the whole fucking story. He gets out. Also, one thing he was like, you know, there are no guards or anyone, you know, guarding this prison. It's because it was Bane's prison. They said that in the fucking movie. I mean, Bane can. That's why he can just come and go when he pleases. He doesn't give a fuck. It's like, yeah, you're gonna be down here. I don't give a shit. I'm running this motherfucker now because, you know, it was liberated by the League of Shadows. Now, I mean, he you know, Shaky Surgeon even admitted that, you know, he is trying to remember, you know, since he hasn't seen it. You know, of course, like the first time you see it, you know, there's so much shit coming at you. You're trying to digest all of it at one fucking time, and then when you watch it, you know, other times it's kind of like with The Sixth Sense, you know, people, they always say, no, Bruce Willis was talking to the kid's mom. And then when you watch it again, like, oh, no, he wasn't. So that's the point. But, yeah, so, I mean, it was supposed to represent, and this is what I think. All those guys, once Batman made that fucking jump to that ledge, and he got it, they were just fucking cheering. And I think what that is supposed to do is that is supposed to represent the way that Gotham felt about Batman at the beginning of Dark Knight. It's like, oh my god, just some ordinary guy. He doesn't have powers. He has basically risen up. He's achieved something. And that is supposed to make them feel like, yes, we can do this too. We don't have to just fucking sit by and say, well, this is the way shit is, nothing we can do. No. He did it. That means you can. And that's why he threw the rope down. Like, hey, this is your fucking salvation right here. You know, I showed you the way, and now you can do the same thing as I'm doing. And that's why, you know, like the whole thing with, like, you know, the guy Joseph Gordon-Levitt taking the mantle as Batman, I think that's fucking great. It's like, yeah, because, and Batman even said in the movie, it's like, you know, it doesn't matter who I am under the mask. It doesn't fucking matter, because Batman is a symbol. He is, you know, Gotham's hope. And it doesn't matter if that's Bruce Wayne or if it's anyone else. That is hope. And I think that was the main message of the movie, that, you know, while you may be broken down now, you can rise up. And you can achieve something. And I thought the movie was fucking brilliant about that. And I think the title fits so fucking well. And I'm really hoping that they keep going. I hope they don't call Joseph Gordon-Levitt. God damn it! Why am I always fucking up his name? I hope they don't make him like Robin. I hope they go for more of like maybe an Azrael direction, or possibly like a Batman Begins type direction, like where he's different, but he is Batman. Because, I mean, Robin does make it corny. Or they can even make him Nightwing. I thought that's what they were going to do with it. You know, just make him Nightwing. That was my original hope. But, I mean, the series was fucking great. I mean, this was a great way to end this. And someone actually brought up on the internet, like, that they hope that they just do another trilogy. Whether it's Chris Nolan or not, you know, I mean, Chris Nolan did do a great fucking job, but other people can pick up, you know, the torch. And, you know, someone actually said maybe they could start a new trilogy of, you know, called the Cape Crusader instead of the Dark Knight. You know, Cape Crusader. There you go. Another fucking name for Batman. And maybe they could concentrate more on, like, the detective side of Batman, which I think would be fucking great. And go for, like, that really, really gritty kind of mystery feel. I think that'd be kind of cool. But I hope they keep going with this whole idea. But then again, I've also heard that they might possibly try to do a Justice League movie. I think Christopher Nolan might be attached to that. Hopefully he is. That would be fucking great. But I mean, because the Avengers, I mean, made over $1 billion fucking dollars, and I think DC. I mean, unfortunately, you know, DC. I think with certain things like DC's cartoons, they were a lot fucking better than Marvel's cartoons. Any of Marvel's cartoons. But their movies haven't fared too well. I think that the Green Lantern wasn't as bad as people said it was. I thought it was fine. I didn't think it was great. I thought it was good. Superman Returns, which I don't even have to see that movie to know it sucks. My dad and brother told me enough about it, so I know I don't need to see it. I know it fucking blows. But then again, Christopher Nolan is producing Man of Steel, and I think that's a reboot. And they haven't done Aquaman, so I mean, they could in fact do a Justice League and have this new Batman, and the team, and I think that'd be fucking great. But I don't know. I'm pretty excited. I mean, this is a great fucking conclusion to a great fucking trilogy because these weren't good superhero movies. They were just great fucking films all around. They were realistic. They were fucking just. I don't know. There's so much to be said. I'm really happy that they went this direction, that they were this serious and did it this well. So I think I've ranted on long enough about this. But yeah, I think I'm going to be going back to my pissed off videos here soon. But so anyway, this is Bad 5, and I'll see you guys next video.